So if you just came on, we need 2 yoga blocks and 2 blankets or pillows, and probably a blanket for under your knees as well. Hold on one second. Okay, so I saw somebody coming on. Nope. So we're going to start out with a little core on our back today. So we're going to do a little work and also a little bit of back bending. So I'm going to talk some yoga philosophy before we get completely started. And then we're going to do a little kind of restoration at the end of practice today. So you're going to start on your backs. And if you want, you can have something down underneath you. I always keep a blanket because my surface is hard. It's up to you. And you are going to need to have your set of blocks within reach. So keep those nearby. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody so we don't get any feedback. So if you wanted to play music, you could get that started. And if you ever want a playlist, you can always email me. I can send that to you. Okay. So go ahead and just settle in, take a few moments. Let your body land here on the ground. Our yoga philosophy topic today is the word prakasha, which is a word that I'm really just loving these days in my studies. It was introduced to me by 2 of my teachers this year, and it means to go forth, to shine, to be brilliant, and to see clearly. And it is said to be associated with the power of consciousness. So this idea of illumination, of how we are all connected to kind of this one source, however we want to look at it, God, spirit, the universe, whatever our own particular thoughts are on that. Yoga asks us to connect to something bigger than ourselves. But it also reminds us that we are not separate from that bigger something, that we are part of it. So we can think of prakasha as the sun and its rays of light. So for example, the sun is this light source. And then there are these individual rays of light that shine out and illuminate. So we can think of ourselves as these individual rays of light that become illuminated from the source. And so when we're talking about kind of inviting this feeling of prakasha into our bodies, we need to start to let go of contraction. So we're going to work a lot with contraction and release today in our core work. But initially here, just starting to soften any contraction in your body. And it also asks that we soften our boundaries and be open to inspiration. So when we're in this really contracted state and we're tense, everything's sort of armoring up and we're not letting anything in or out. We're sort of like creating this heavy boundary. Sometimes those boundaries are necessary and needed, but other times, like when we're on our mat, maybe we want to feel safe enough to let those boundaries down, let those walls down. So take a few more breaths here, just kind of softening, letting go, releasing your boundaries, and allowing yourself to open to inspiration. From here, we're going to go ahead and take a full body stretch. So reach your arms long, reach your legs long. And then we're going to open the arms out to like a V, like out wide as your mat, and take your legs out as wide as your mat. So you're like a big X or a big star. Let's think of it as a star today. And we're going to inhale, expand through the arms and the legs in all directions. Make a fist with your hands. Squeeze your arms, squeeze your legs. Get really engaged in your muscles. And then slowly, slowly, slowly let it all go. We're going to go through that contract and release a few more times. And what I want you to do is think about engaging everything on the inhale. So expand through your arms and legs, engage all your muscles, make fists, tighten your core, your belly, and then super slow motion. Start to let go and soften. We're going to do that 3 more times. So as you expand and contract, you're giving your brain a sense of contrast, because when we slowly release it, it's like reteaching our brain and our body to relax. So we intentionally go more into tension. 2 more times. So intentionally over-contract and then intentionally, slowly soften. Try not to just plop it all at one time. Do a slow release, last round. Just for a moment now, let everything melt into the ground. And then we're going to bend our knees and grab our block. So we're going to do a lot of work with the block between the inner thighs today. So take your block, we're going to place it right between the inner thighs. Okay, so go ahead, we're going to pause here with the block between the legs. And when we work with squeezing the block between the legs, it helps to strengthen our inner thighs, our pelvic floor, and our low abdominal muscles. So it's like 3-for-1 exercise here. Creates a lot of core stability. We're going to take an inhale, and as you exhale, squeeze the block between your inner thighs. Maybe you can notice how that comes up through your pelvic floor and your lower belly. And then relax, take an inhale. Exhale, squeeze the block between your inner thighs. And we're going to do that 1 more time. Inhale, soften. Exhale, squeeze. Okay, take a pause. And we're going to bring those knees right over the hips. Keep your block in. And now we're going to stay here and really get your back ribs to press into the ground. So a lot of times here, we start to overarch our lower back, but I want you to stay connected to your core. So press your back ribs down, press your lower back down, press your shoulders down. And now stay here, take an inhale, exhale, squeeze the block. So a little more challenging with those feet off the ground. 2 more cycles. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze the block, press your lower back into the ground as you squeeze the block. 1 more time, inhale. Exhale, squeeze the block, press your lower back. Now we're going to add on if you can. You can always keep doing that. So now we inhale, exhale, squeeze the block. Start to lower your toes toward the floor, any amount, as you keep pressing your back ribs down. And then we're going to bring those knees back up. Good. So a couple rounds like that. Take an inhale. Exhale, squeeze the block, press your lower back, lower the toes any amount, and try not to overarch your lower back. And then bring it back up. 1 more time, guys. You're doing great. Squeeze that block, lower it down. Don't arch your lower back. If you do, you've gone too far. Bring it back. And then release. Take the block out for a moment and just have a little breath. If you want, you could windshield wiper your legs. We're going to do 1 more round here. Okay, stick the block back in. This time, take the legs up straight. You can have a little bend in those knees if you like. And we're going to continue to press that lower back down into the ground and squeeze the block. We're going to take our hands behind the back of the head now. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, squeeze the block, press in your lower back, and try to touch your toes more toward the ceiling. And then relax. Take an inhale, exhale, squeeze the block, press your lower back down, try to touch your toes up toward the ceiling. Feel that lower belly muscle engage. Now, if you want to go more, you're going to lift your head, chest, and shoulders. So squeeze, try to lift, and then lift your head, chest, and shoulders. Keep your chin out of your chest, and then release everything down. So that's a little more challenging. Listen to your body, 2 more cycles. With or without that head lift. But do press that lower back, and do squeeze your block. 1 more time. All right, go ahead, release everything down. You might feel that tomorrow. Let's go ahead and stretch into a full body stretch again. So nothing like core work to help us remember our inner power, right? So remember that we are part of that power source. We're going to hug our knees into our chest, make yourselves into a little ball. You can leave your head down or pick it up. And then inhale, full body stretch. So we remember that we are part of that source of light, not separate from it. It helps us remember that we have this inner power, we have this inner light. We're going to continue through that 3 more rounds, with or without lifting your head. So we inhale, stretch out. And we exhale, we hug in. So here's that contrast again between contraction and expansion. 1 more time. Good, and then set your feet down flat onto the ground. We're gonna roll to our side and come on up into a seated posture. And I can see your smiling faces for a bit. Okay, we're gonna need our 2 blocks. We're going to take 1 block between the inner thighs. We're going to sit with our feet flat. Bring your hands behind you onto the ground. Good. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, squeeze that block between your inner thighs. Good. And then the other block, we'll just let that go for the time being. Reach your arms in front of you. Good. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, squeeze your block. Inhale here. As you exhale, we're going to lean back a little bit. So we're toward the backs of our sit bones and squeeze the block. Good. Inhale, we come up. Exhale, lean back, squeeze the block. 1 more time. Inhale, come up. Exhale, lean back, squeeze your block. Good. Inhale, come up. Take a break. Let the legs come out. Shake them out. We're going to repeat now with the second block. We're going to do a little twist with that. So back into it. Block between the inner thighs. Got to get motivated here for our new year. So bring your block, second block in front of you between your palms. Take an inhale. Exhale, lean back a little bit. So we start to get a little bit of engagement in the core. And then we're going to twist to the right. You can bend the elbows or keep them straight, your choice. Back to center, squeeze the block between your hands and your legs over to the other side. Good. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. 1 more time, each side, you can do it. Good, back to the center, and let's release. All right, straighten the legs out, shake them out a little bit. And then we're gonna come into tabletop position. And guess what? Block's our friend today. We're gonna keep working with it. We're gonna have some nice strong inner thighs and pelvic floors after this. So block between the inner thighs. And then we're going to come into all fours. You might want padding under your knees, depending on your surface there. Spread it out evenly through your palms. Press through your finger pads. And then we're going to take an inhale. Exhale, just squeeze the block. 2 more like that, just in neutral. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze the block. 1 more time. Good. Now we'll add on the cat-cow movement and keep squeezing on the exhale. So we're going to inhale, arch the spine. Exhale, squeeze the block. Now try to touch your nose and your block together and push through your palms. As you inhale, try to move your block back behind you as you look up. Exhale, squeeze, bring that block in. Keep it going for a few more cycles. And try to focus on this little area below your navel. Can you give a really good, nice little squeeze to that lower belly? So we're trying to strengthen the deepest core muscles. And when our core is strong, both in our front and our back, we have this better posture. And it's more of our ability then to kind of present ourselves and shine forth, as opposed to collapsing our posture and just kind of shrinking in. After this next one, guys, let's take the block out and come into child's pose. Move your hips back, take a few breaths. Just get a nice stretch for your spine. Breathe into the lower belly. Let it relax for a few moments. We're going to keep working with the block for a little bit longer with a few back bends. So we're going to kind of weave in some back bends into the practice now. So strengthening the back of the core. Come back to tabletop. We're going to put the block back in and have it flush with your legs, because what we're going to do now is come on our bellies. And you might want the block just a tad bit lower so it's not right up in there. So closer to your knees might be more ideal here. And we're going to prep up into Sphinx Posture. So you're on your forearms with your elbows right under your shoulders and your wrists in line with your elbows. We're going to take an inhale, and as you exhale, squeeze the block, push into your palms, lift your chest. Now keep lifting your chest. And you have the option of picking your feet up off the ground, pick your shins up, and squeeze that block. Hold there, another breath. And then release the shins if you've lifted them, and you're going to rest all the way down. Take a little break. Okay, so come to the center, place your forehead right on your palms. And we're going to bring our awareness to the right leg. Stretch the right leg back a little bit, lengthen through it. Try to lift it off the ground, keep squeezing the block. So now strengthening kind of the back of the glute, the back of the hamstring. Release and do the other leg. Stretch the left leg back, squeeze the block, and try to lift the left leg off the ground. So you might not get that thigh up, but you can get your foot and your shin up. And then release. Okay. Slide your hands by your chest. Roll your shoulders back. Squeeze your block. Inhale, cobra pose. Good. Exhale, forehead down. Now try to lift both feet off the ground. Forehead is down. Try to lift your feet, lift your shins, squeeze your block. And then shins down, feet down. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale down, squeeze the block. Try to lift the shins, lift the feet. Keep squeezing the block. One more time through. Inhale, lift up, front body, upper body. And then upper body lowers, lift the lower body. Good, release, stack your hands under your forehead. Give your hips a little wiggle, rest it out a moment. Take another breath here. And we're going to slide our hands back, press into tabletop position again. We're going to take the block out for the time being. Circle your hips around a little bit, release your back after all those back bends. I'm going to do a little bit more work with back bending. Circle the other way. And one more time back into your child's pose. You can put your forehead on your hands or reach your arms forward. Send 3 nice breaths into your lower back. After all that back bending, sometimes the lower back feels a little tight. So relax it here, breathe into it. After your 3rd breath, we're going to start to come back up. If you have a blanket down, we're going to take that out of the way. And come up just to a down dog to transition to stand. Bend your knees and walk your hands back towards your feet. Fold over your legs. And then we're going to inhale, halfway lift, hands up on your thighs. Exhale, fold forward over your legs and then squeeze that lower belly below your navel. Squeeze it in. Inhale, we're going to stand all the way up. Reach through your arms. Good, and exhale, release. All right, I apologize. There's a lot of shadow today because of the snow outside. So I've got like lights on me, but I know I still look a little dark. So I apologize for that. Let's grab our block again. Do a little bit more work with that guy. We're going to put it right between the inner thighs again. So working with the block also activates a lot of our root chakra energy, so it's very grounding, right? So it helps us know where we are in space. It helps our proprioception. It helps us feel more stable. So what you need to do is squeeze that block between your inner thighs and at the same time, root your feet into the ground. Root your thighs down into the ground so your legs are really charged up. And then inhale, reach your arms up. As you exhale, we're going to pull down into a goal post position. That's it. And we're going to try to do that in a little back bend. So inhale, reach your arms up. As you exhale, squeeze your block, goal post your arms, take a little back bend, lift your heart upward. Good, 2 more like that. Inhale. And the more you ground your legs, the more you can be a little safer to open up into that back bend. 1 more time, inhale, reach up. Exhale, pull down, little back bend. Good, inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to your hips. Okay, from here, keep squeezing your block. We're gonna bend our knees, come into chair pose. And in your chair pose, the knees are bent, your hip creases move back, and we've got some weight right down through our heels. Toning the belly, we're gonna bring our hands to the heart. Good, keep squeezing that block, and we're gonna inhale, straighten the arms and the legs, reach up. Exhale, squeeze the block and lower down. Good, 2 more like that. One more time. And then we're gonna hold it here, squeezing that block. Press the palms together, send your hip creases back, weight in your heels, and think about where your hip points are. Lift them up, which will lengthen your lower back. Then let's reach the arms up. Nice work, guys. 1 more breath. I know you're feeling it. Good, and let's release. Come all the way up. And we'll take the block out. Okay, come back to your mountain pose. Let's do a couple of half sun salutations. Stand with your feet about hips distance apart. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward, slight bend in your knees as you come down. Inhale, hands up on your thighs, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, squeeze that belly in. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart. 2 more cycles, half sun sal. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway, hands on thighs. Exhale, fold, squeeze your belly. Inhale, reach up. This time we're going to pull down into that goal pose. Take our little back bend. And then one more time through. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach up. And pull down. Little back bend. Good. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, release. Hands to your heart. Good. Okay, let's grab our 2 blocks and make sure they're at the top of your mat. We're going to use them more for stepping back to a lunge now. And if you need something under your knees, keep that nearby so that you have a little padding that you can pull in as we're going to drop down onto our back knee. Okay, so stand in front of your block, or behind your blocks rather. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, hands to blocks. And then we're going to step the right foot back, drop down onto that knee, and move your blocks back so they're in line with your front foot. Good. Now pretend you're squeezing your block between your inner thighs. That's very stabilizing for your hips. And we're going to bring our hands right up onto the front thigh when you are ready. Hooking your tailbone forward, squeeze your imaginary block, and then inhale the arms up. Good. As you exhale, we're taking that goal post. Slide into your front knee, bend your elbows. Maybe you'll find a little back bend. Inhale, come back to vertical. Exhale, pull down. Goal post the arms, maybe a little back bend. One more time. Good. We're going to inhale, reach the arms up. Hands come down to the blocks. Step your foot back to tabletop position. Inhale, reach the arms up, stand up on your knees. And then exhale, bring your hands down, set your blocks to the side, slide forward onto your belly. Okay, so we're going to come into another back bend. I want you to bring your hands out to the edges of your mat, kind of maybe close to your shoulders. Turn your palms outward a little bit, okay? We're going to squeeze your imaginary block, send your tailbone down into the ground, and slowly start to push in your palms and come up as far as you like. This is called seal pose. Some of you could straighten your arms, some of you are going to keep them bent. And then lower back down. Now this is a lot. You're going to move your hands more forward. If you're good, you could even move them back a little bit. Okay, let's try again. Tailbone presses into the ground. So you should feel engagement in your glutes here. And then lift up. This time, maybe hold it a moment. Spin your elbow creases forward. Take your gaze forward. Feel your back muscles engaging. And then release. This is too much. Remember, you're not going to come up as far. And you can move your hands forward. One more time, lift up, tailbone presses down. Maybe you're going to lift your chin a little bit, but keep your neck long. Maybe gaze up. And release. Press to tabletop position. Rock your hips or circle your hips. Both directions. And then we're coming up to downward facing dog. Walk your feet forward, top of the mat. And fold forward, keep those blocks at the top. Inhale, we rise up. Reach through the arms, pull down the goalpost, open your heart space, and reach up. As you exhale, fold forward, hands to blocks. And then we're going to step the left foot back, move your blocks back, drop your back knee. Good, and then you're imagining you're squeezing a block between your inner thighs to hug the midline, and then hands up on your thigh. That's it. Once you're there, hook your tailbone forward. Inhale, reach the arms up. And then 3 rounds, we slide into the front knee, bend the elbows into our goal pose, lift through the heart space. Good, 2 more. Inhale back to vertical. Exhale, pull down. 1 more time, inhale. Exhale, pull down. Good, inhale, this time hands to blocks. Step that front foot back. Move your blocks to the side. Come all the way down onto your belly. Okay, 1 more round of back bends here, then we're going to start to cool it down a bit. So put your forehead on your hands. Take a moment there. We're going to feel like we're lengthening through the legs, pulling the tailbone down. And then on your next inhale, press into your arms, lift your head off the ground. Keep the back of the neck long, the arms are still down. But now let's see if we can lift the legs and squeeze your imaginary block. Push in your arms, lift your chest, use those back muscles. And then release and come down. Okay, this time, as you come up, let's see if we can take the arms to the side, palms down. Lift the legs, lift the shoulders, lift the head. Maybe the palms come up. You can always stick with the last version if you want. And then release, come down. Next round, maybe you're going to clasp your hands behind your back if that's available. If not, repeat what you just did. Inhale, center, lift the shoulders. Try not to lock those elbows too much. And release. Let the hands come down. Wiggle out your hips. Pick your feet up and circle your shins around. Release your lower back. And then go the other direction. And then feet down. We're going to press to tabletop pose. 1 more time, let's come into child's pose. This time, take your knees about as wide as your mat if you can. Send your sit bones back, and then stack your palms up, elbows wide, and rest down. Getting a little bit more open into the inner thighs here. So now we're going to shift gears. We did all of this hugging into the inner thighs. Now we're going to stretch them apart with some diamond shapes. So when you're ready, we're going to come up to sit. And you might want to sit up on one of your props, blanket or a pillow. And then let's keep your other blocks within reach. We might need those. Okay. Soles of the feet together here into our bound angle shape. Sitting up nice and tall, right on the tops of your sit bones. We're going to circle the torso around a little bit. So I did a lot of this engaging in the pelvic floor and the inner thighs. Now this next part is more about releasing it, but also we're doing some diamond shapes. Nice reminder to shine, right? Shine forth. Go the other direction. Okay, back to the center. Take an inhale, lift up through your chest, and exhale, hinge forward, come into a little bit of a forward fold here if you like. Now, as you come into the forward fold, you could clasp your hands on your toes, or you can have your hands on the ground. But do think about sticking your sit bones out behind you. So it's like a little pelvic tilt that'll help you fold forward. And then let's take 3 breaths here. After your 3rd breath, very slowly start to bring yourself back up. Good. If you have a cushion under you, let's take it out for this next part. We're back in our down angle, but we're going to hold on somewhere on our shins or our ankles, and we're going to lean back like we did in the beginning of practice and go toward the backs of your sit bones. See if you can pick your feet up off the ground. And then we're going to rock back. Feet down, shift forward. And we're just going to rock back and forth. See if you can get your feet off the ground. Try not to roll all the way back. So just have a little fun with this. Maybe you'll get those feet a little higher. See if you can find a little balance. And if it's not working to pick the feet up, just do the forward and back rocking. Good. Now those of you who can, hold it up. And lift your chest. Shine that heart forward. Get your shoulders back. Hold on to the ankles or the feet. If it's too much, just let them stay down. One more breath. Good, and then slowly release. Place those feet back down. Good. Okay, now we're going to slide the feet forward. They're still together. We're making kind of a diamond shape with our legs. You're going to bring that pillow back in. So actually get that in first, and then slide your feet out. So it's a longer down angle position. And this is sometimes called star pose or Tadasana. Some of us are going to want the blocks underneath the knees. I'm going to show that. So grab them if you feel there's any strain in your knees. Adjust them so that they feel like they're in a good position. You could also use 2 like square pillows off your sofa here. That would work nicely, or 2 round rolled up blankets. The blocks are fine as well. Okay, we'll sit up tall. Think about sticking your booty and your tailbone out behind you. So find a little pelvic tilt so you feel like you're arching your lower back. Then we're going to start to come forward. So coming forward as far as it feels right for you. You might not go as far as I'm going. That's okay. Again, tip your sit bones back, heart forward, and then let your head start to drop to your capacity here. If you feel strain in those legs, adjust your sit bones, pull them apart more, or maybe change your block setting. And we're going to hold there for about 5 more breaths. Last 2 breaths, nice and soft and slow. Your breath might be different than mine, so just take your time. After that second breath, you're going to very slowly start to bring yourself back up and just take your time to pause when you get to the top. Good. Remove your blocks if you have them in, and we're going to take the legs out wide into a straddle position now. Turn your toes up, turn your kneecaps up. Extend down through your legs like we did in that first star shape where we expanded through our legs. And then reach up tall through the chest. Inhale, take the arms overhead. Interlace your palms, press the palms up. Now if this is hard on your lower back or your hamstrings, go ahead and bend your knees so they're not all the way straight. And then keeping the length in your spine, release your arms down. Take an inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, walk it out any amount forward. Now, as you come forward, we're sticking that booty out behind us, finding that pelvic tilt. We get more stretch to the inner thighs and the pelvic floor. Those of you who want to, you're close enough, you could stack up some blocks and put them under your forehead to rest. Depending on your flexibility, it might also be closer to the ground. So adjust to make it work for you. And if you're too high up and you can't rest your head, then don't worry about it. Just stay where you are. We're going to stay there for a few more breath cycles. Find a soft breath in your belly. Just allowing yourself to go inward, soften the boundaries, soften tension, and allow for that illumination and inspiration to touch you. So in the theory of Prakash, we are both created and creators. We are part of that bigger picture, that sun, the universe, spirit, but we're also individual aspects of it. When we remember that, we can allow ourselves to shine forth a little more. One more breath cycle. And as we did before, we're coming up really slowly. So take your time when you're ready, and you're going to pause when you get to the vertical positioning. Just take a breath or two there in your vertical shape. Allow the head to adjust here, blood flow to adjust. All right, we're going to be coming onto our backs next. So I'm going to bring those legs together. And we're going to do a supported heart and hip opener. So most of you have done the heart opener part before. You're going to use your 2 blocks to make a little bench for your heart. I'm going to show the lowest setting, but those of you who like a deeper back bend here can go higher. But you're going to put 1 block on the very low flat setting, and that's going to go under the back of your heart to lift it up. The second block is turned up 1 level, and that's going to go under your head. Now, I'm going to recommend that we take this bound ankle shape. So you're going to need your 2 pillows or 2 blankets. And I've got a blanket, so I'm just going to roll it up. And some of you might not even need anything under your knees, totally up to you. So if you're using blankets, you're going to take 2 of them, roll them up, 1 on each side. Or you can use sofa cushions, or you can use another set of blocks. Okay, so if you want to watch for a moment, if you're not sure, we're going to come back and position block 1 right around your strap line. And then block 2 under the back of your head. Soles of the feet together, drop your knees apart, and stick those blankets as close in as you need to. so that you can feel comfortable in this position. So another diamond shape with the feet and the legs. If the leg position is not feeling good, feel free to take your legs out straight. So that's an option. And if the block setup is not feeling good, you could just put a pillow under the back of your heart and the back of your head. You'll still get a little lift. It won't be as much, but better for your body if you're not comfortable. So I'm just going to kind of watch in until you guys get settled here. Feel free to put something over your body if you're cold. And we're going to settle into the breath here. Nice, soft, slow breath in your belly, but feeling the spaciousness through the heart space, that shining forth aspect of opening the heart area, of softening perhaps some armoring that we might have around our heart. So coming back to softening boundaries. Coming back to releasing tension. We're going to stay here another minute or two, so continue to settle. And I'm just going to share a little bit more of our yoga philosophy as you stay there for a bit longer. So it said that our practice opens the door to self-realization. The yoga philosophies teach us that we do not have to become something other than what we inherently are in order to be truly free, to be immersed into spirit. Our truest nature, it is taught, is nothing other than a representation or a reflection of the one light of supreme consciousness. And that is Prakasha itself. The reality that we experience on a day-to-day basis is simply determined by where our awareness is placed. Do we identify merely with the body and the egoic mind? Or do we see these as surface expressions of our limitless self? How deeply are we able to recognize who we truly are? So the yoga philosophies uses the term recognition as its word for liberation. Through the process of letting go of limited frameworks of self-conception, we gradually attune with the highest light of our own being. Very cool stuff. Take a few more breaths. We're almost done here. All right, so we're going to take our time. If your legs are in bound angle, maybe you want to stretch them out for a moment. When you're ready to, you can go ahead and bend the knees again, prop yourself up. We're going to take the blocks out and come back down onto your back. Once you get down on your back, you can keep anything nearby that you want for Shavasana. If you need to add some layers, socks, sweaters, grab all that, get that done. And then let's go ahead and take a full body stretch. You might want to have a pillow under your head eventually for your Shavasana, but if you don't need it right now, it's fine. Take a full body stretch, and then let's have the knees back into the chest. pause there for a moment. Let that lower back really settle. And then take your knees apart, reach down on the inner leg and hold your ankles. So we're in another bound ankle shape. The knees are apart. We're holding on to the lower ankle wherever you can hold, and let the back body settle into the ground. Take a breath into your belly and your pelvic floor area. You can stay here or move it to happy baby. Bring those feet up toward the ceiling. You can still hold on to ankles. You might hold on to feet if it's available. You can also hold behind your legs. And then making sure that we're still letting that lower back drop down. So we're not rounding or picking that tailbone up or curling the tailbone up to get the feet. Can you let the tailbone be heavy and the lower back lengthened? You can stay here or straighten those legs out to the side. Get a bigger stretch through the inner thigh, inner groin area. Open it up. If that's too much, you can also hold behind your legs or skip it. Send your breath into your belly, your pelvic floor. One more breath. And then we're going to bring it back in, hug your knees, settle for another breath. Okay guys, you made it. Let's move it into Shavasana as you're ready. So grab anything that would help you feel comfortable. We did do all those back bends, so it might be nice if you put some support underneath the backs of your knees. Give yourself a little bend in the knees. Maybe your pillow under your head. If you need any last minute movement, go ahead and take what you need before settling into stillness. So your body worked hard. We work hard, it sometimes creates contraction. But a lot of times in our yoga practice, when we intentionally engage our muscles and then intentionally soften them, we might find that we can soften our borders. We can soften that body armoring, allow for that light of Prakash to inspire us, to illuminate us. So starting to let the tissue soften once again. We're going to take a couple of minutes to do a breath practice before we completely relax. It'll also help with your relaxation. So please bring your hands to your low belly, below your navel. And we're going to take a few cycles of breath and breathe right here into that area below your navel. And we're going to try and see if we can let that breath be like a balloon. So it's not just in the front, it's three-dimensional. It's going to go into your lower back as well. So you got to be really conscious, really soft in your awareness. And allow the breath to be like a fine thread of light coming in and going out. So you might even feel a little bit of restriction in the back of your throat to help draw that breath out a little longer. So I want you to take it in super slow, super soft. Fill up front and back of the belly. And then let it out super slow, super soft. And now let's bring hands up onto the rib cage and we're going to continue. Now breathe here. So it's above your navel, below your chest. Expand three-dimensionally. with that super fine thread of breath flowing in and flowing out. Imagine the warmth of your hands softening this tissue under your rib cage, allowing you to breathe a little more fully, but not forcefully. So we want the breath to be relaxed, soft, and subtle, not like forcing it in or out. And now bring the hands up on your chest. We're going to finish with the hands on the chest. And breathing here below your collarbones, upper chest, upper back, soft and slow. Now in a moment, we're going to release the hands and we're going to put this all together into one breath from the belly to the ribs to the chest. So let the palms release. And now take just a breath or two, normal breaths. And then we're going to start to breathe into belly, into ribs, into chest, like a wave coming up toward the chest and then release from the top, chest, rib cage, belly. And now continue to breathe in this way, like a wave coming in, filling up from bottom to top, and then going out from top to bottom. Still with a soft, fine thread of breath. Still three-dimensional, so you're breathing front body, back body, side body. And we're going to continue for a few more moments. And I'll share one more piece of breathing with you while you continue that breath for a few more cycles. So we often feel separate from other beings. But here we return to the concept of recognition. We can imagine that the one consciousness, the one source of the universe, to be similar to the ocean. Each expression of consciousness represents an individual wave that can be identified only in contrast to the waves around it. Each wave gives rise to the next in a never-ending process of vibration. All waves of individual consciousness are interdependently connected to the other waves. Just as each person is created from the vital essence of their parents and continues to be shaped by the other waves or the environmental influences that impact them. So through the vehicle of our breath regulation, inner attunement, we can quiet our minds, open ourselves to the experience of immersion into the depths of the self. So let go of the three-part breath if you haven't, and simply allow your breath to breathe on its own. The body and the mind very still. Just experiencing that subtle vibration or contraction and release of the breath. right, so we're going to take our time, slowly start to move a bit, deepening your breath. Notice the effects of your practice. And take your time, start to move a little more, eventually come over to one side. You'll take a brief pause on your side. And after that brief pause, you can go ahead and come up and we'll meet in a seated posture. Try not to do anything too quickly. Take your time. So we'll sit up nice and tall again, take the shoulders back, extend through the crown of the head. Let the hands rest down for a few breaths. Couple soft breaths in your belly. So whether we think of ourselves as individual rays of light from the one source of the sun, individual waves in the ocean, individual stars in a full sky of the universe. You're all interconnected to both the source and to each other. And these are the teachings of yoga, this idea of unification, unity consciousness. All individual expressions, but all connected. Let's bring our hands now in front of the heart space. Take an inhale, let the heart lift, and exhale, bow your head down to your heart. Thank you, everyone. Namaste.